Hi, my name is Rosa Galarza, and we are here today to celebrate Mother's Day. And today I'm here with Miss Staci Adkins. She's the owner and baker of Richard Dean Cookies. How are you, Miss Staci?
I'm doing well today. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Tell me about your story, your testimony, how you, from where you started to now.
Oh, wow, that's a story. That's a story for sure. So, started as, no, not even as, I was going to say started as a brick and mortar. But the truth is, I started in my home in California, where we lived in California.
Okay.
And I had both of my daughters, and they're a year and 2 weeks apart. Yeah, a year and 2 weeks apart. That was shocking. So made the decision to come off my job and be a stay-at-home mom since they were so little and so close together. And I literally prayed and asked God for something to produce within my home. Like, I love being a mom, but I also wanted to add monetary value, productivity value to my home. And so came across this cookie recipe. Never really been a baker. Cooked a little bit because as a child, we had to help and cook and be in the kitchen. But baking,
never a baker.
Never a baking.
Oh,
baking was not a thing. So that's how we really know it was from God, because the baking was not a thing. So I started playing around with this recipe, and every day my husband would come home from work and I would have him try it, and he would be like, "That's not it."
Oh, he would be like, opinion.
Yeah, he was like, no. And I've shared this part of the story before. I remember one day in particular, I had made the cookies and they spread so much that literally when I held it up, it looked like the paper mache art, like you could see through the cookie.
No way.
I promise you. My husband was like, I think we're missing some things. Like, he was so diplomatic about it. He was so nice about it.
Honest.
Oh, he's always going to be honest, but we were just happy that he was diplomatic.
Oh my goodness.
So I just kept trying.
Oh my
and then he started like, why don't you try this? And why don't you try this? Because he's a great cook. And so he kind of figured out where I was dropping the ball and just kind of helped me perfect it. And then the first time that I shared it, our family does a big Christmas Eve. And we would go to my grandparents' house and we would all exchange gifts. I have cousins and nieces and nephews. And so it's a major thing. It's probably like 60 people in this small little house, right? And we did tins. We went to the store and we bought all these cookie tins, and I just baked cookies and put them in the tins, and that was the family gifts. Because we didn't have a whole lot of money to buy gifts, so we made them and gave them out. And my family thought we had bought them. They were like, "What store did you?"
They were like, "What store did you go to?"
And I said, "I made them." And family is family. And they were like, "No, you didn't."
They're like,
so what did? They go and they talk to my husband. They were like, "Darius, where'd you all get the cookies from?" He's like, "Staci made them." And they were like, "Really? What?" So that's really how it all kind of began. And then it was like, that's when I realized I really had something. And I was like, so this is what God gave me. This is the gift that he gave me. And just started taking opportunities to grow from there, using it for the youth ministry at church, taking advantage of opportunities within the African American community. They had business expos. So then I was able to be vendors there and get it out to the public. And the reception was amazing. So I started there, and then I was like, I want to have a brick and mortar. So then went into a brick and mortar, got my own space, and we had that for 5 years, and then made the decision to close it.
That was in California.
That was in California.
Okay.
Part of that was financial, and then made the decision to close it. And then about 2 years, 3 years later, we ended up moving to Tennessee. And so since being here, I've been kind of playing around with it, like I'll do it, not do it. And
you gotta do it, because I tried them yesterday night. They're good.
So fast forward, I've done different markets. I have online. The people that have been my support in California have never stopped supporting me. So even when I wasn't there, they would be calling, "Can you send us some cookies?" My parents would ask for different reasons. "Hey, we need to buy some cookies. How much is it going to cost?" So I would still be doing them, but not at the capacity that I'm doing them now. So yeah.
That's great. That's a beautiful story. I love how your husband was just like, here's some little things. Hey, I'm going to give you a little, that reminded me, it took me back to when me and my husband first started, living this whole stay in the apartment together, sharing a home basically.
Okay.
In our beginning stages of marriage, I did not know how to do rice on a pot. I knew how to do it on a rice cooker.
Okay.
Right? But my husband is Puerto Rican, but
Okay.
and they're used to put everything in the pot and make the rice. And honey, I burned that rice, trying and trying many times. And he will come and I'm like, I'm sorry, baby, I burned the rice, and he'll be like, yeah, it is good. It was.
They're so kind.
He was so kind. He's like, just next time, you can put, a little bit more oil. Maybe leave it a little bit, less time, less heat.
Yeah.
And he was so kind about
all the things.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Your story is awesome. That's a testimony right there.
Yeah.
Just the resilience,
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
The
That and
resilience.
having by the
And
time
your daughters.
we did the brick and mortar, I had all three. I had 3 kids. So I had the 2 girls and then we had a son.
So how are you balancing, the work life with motherhood?
When they were younger, they went to work with me. I was like, summer
it.
camp is at the bakery.
That
I was like, that's where your summer camp is. Summer camp is at the bakery. So the kids would come to the shop with me, and I see the girls were in 3rd, 4th grade, somewhere in there. But they knew how to answer the phone. Thank you for calling. They knew how to do the computer. I would show them how to do things on the computer. They knew how to, my girls to this day, they're 25 and 26, and they can do the recipe as good as or better than I can. And they just know. And so, when they were little, I was like, come on, everybody's going to work with mom. And they loved it. I had a big parking lot, and it was gated so they could run in and out and play. But they were in the shop with me. When I did events, they were right there next to me. And
you involved them in.
Oh, kept them involved. But no, when we went to the bakery, that was a whole situation. They came, they were a part of everything that I did. When I was going to shop for products and different things, they would go with me. They would just, those are my little road dogs.
Business.
They were my riders.
Oh my goodness, that's beautiful.
And they're still like that. They're still very supportive. They're still very much involved, different aspects, because, social media is a whole,
it's another ballgame.
That's a whole nother monster in and of itself. So my girls in particular are very hands-on with that, helping me to understand and navigate and encourage. They're very encouraging, very supportive. So yeah.
That's beautiful.
I think at the age that they were, it's important to model it and to let them be involved, not keep them separate from it.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like that's planting seeds of entrepreneurship in them, or like you said, the resilience and the perseverance of it, because they did get to see me when I got frustrated. They get
the struggle.
They got to see the struggle.
They get to see the profit, the
fruits. And so for me, I want them to know that you don't get the good without the bad.
Exactly.
That's not life, and that's not reality. And
Yeah.
you have to struggle. You have to have some areas of challenge and I call them opportunities, right? But areas of opportunity to grow. And you don't have those in.
Yeah. And make an error. Make a mistake.
Mess up. I did it a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Same thing in my end, it's always been the same. Whatever I'm doing, I'm involving my kids.
Yes.
Hey, here's the struggle, but we're gonna see the fruits of it.
Yeah.
And I know your children have.
Yeah.
And I bet you that I know mines are 12 and 16, but it does shape their character.
It does.
Big time.
It does.
Big time. So you set up your kids to be winners and go-getters.
I hope so.
That's what I believe.
Let's go.
So yes, that's awesome. And just listening to you is just the energy. It's like, yes, I want more, because I thought I was doing this by myself. I thought I was the only crazy one trying to get my kids into working with me. Appreciating, knowing the value of money itself.
Yes.
It does not come easy. It's easy to spend it.
Yes, not easy to get it.
not easy to get it,
No.
right? So, and more whenever you're trying to start a business that later on is going to, benefit your own family.
Absolutely.
And so, and now, thinking about this stuff, I remember my mom is a hairstylist to this day.
Okay.
And I remember her taking me to the shop back in the days in my teenager years. And it will be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Those are the busiest days, right? And she will take me in. She'd be like, okay, I need you to sweep, do this, do that.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, well, where's my money? I'm like, you're paying everybody out, but where's my money? My mentality, right? As a teenager.
I want to hear what she had to say.
Oh, okay. So my mom is Colombian, and Latina women are harsh, okay? But at that time, I'm like, well, it ain't fair. Everybody's getting paid. I'm not getting paid, right? But she said, okay, well, you're not getting paid, but however, you have a roof on top of your head. You have food. You have clothes. You have what you need, And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
It took a little bit to sink in, but
Absolutely.
I'm like, listen, as a kid, I think those things that I have gone through, we've gone through in life, sometimes we think it's like, oh my goodness, why all this stuff happened to me? But then really shaping our character.
That's the goal.
Yeah, I'm like, it's shaping our character. I mean, yes, my grandma had a big part of my life as well. She raised me too.
Okay.
My earlier years of kid and teenager years, and that also, she was also a go-getter. So I'm telling you, your kids, I bet you, I want to meet them. I bet you they're go-getters. They're like problem solvers. If something is to happen, it's like, hey, I know, Mama got the right advice.
That's how they are.
I'm not going to drown in a cup of water.
Yes, they send me all the TikToks. Hey, I'm going to bother my mom. I'm going to find out what my mom is doing. They're checking my location. Like they're on me.
And advice?
Advice for
life situations, struggles, things that happen.
When it comes to, I'm going to speak from a mom. My biggest, if I could leave anything with my kids or share anything with moms, is always keep the conversation on the table.
That's right.
Always keep the conversation on the table, because we are living in a society where they celebrate and support the separation of parents and children. And we as parents have to let our children know that this is a safe space.
Yeah.
And whatever it looks like, whatever it feels like to you, whatever your thought processes are, this is always a conversation. You can always come and talk. Even if it goes against the values that we know we've instilled in them, they still have to be able to come and tell us, because they got to tell somebody.
That's awesome.
And if they're telling other people who don't necessarily have their best interests at heart, where does that leave them? I'm going to tell you the truth because I love you. I'm going to be hard on you because I love you, but I'm also going to hug you and be there for you. Keep the conversation on the table. Don't stop talking.
That's it.
That's my biggest thing is I just want to know. And my kids have shared things with me that I was like, oh, okay. And you just have to keep this face. But what's more important, the relationship or our pride?
Well, thank you.
So the relationship is always going to be top.
Yeah, that's
preserving that.
I'm taking that, and I'm going to teenager.
Yes, absolutely.
Teenager years. I know you've been through it.
Yes.
So I'm taking notes, and yes, conversation, and it's not like I told my daughters. I'm like, it's not conversation. It takes two.
Absolutely.
Two to tango. Listen and expressing yourself. And so I'm like, I want to be there for you guys, and I'm here to listen.
Yeah.
And like you said, we want the best for you guys.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what we're here for, right? Mothers.
Yeah.
To protect our children.
And my other thing I would say is get to know your children as people. Get to know them as a person, because they're growing and they're evolving. They have their own thought processes. They have their the things that they lean into more than others. Get to know them. I share it with my girls. One time I said, one thing that I do realize about family, and I'm not saying everybody's family, this is my observation, is that we're taught to love our family, our siblings, but we're not taught to like them. We like friends. We get to know people and we're like, oh, I really like her. But we don't do that with each other. We love each other. And the Bible says that love hides a multitude or covers a multitude of faults. So we're going to love our family no matter what, but learn to like them. Like when my girls were not seeing eye to eye, I said, but what about your friend group? You guys all see eye to eye? And they were like, no. I said, but you learn how to navigate that and still like them for who they are. And they were like, you're right. I said, you got to do that with each other. So one of my kids is very, very strong, very, very outspoken, very, very right at you. The other one is a little bit more like, well, why do you have to say it that way? And then there's the other one is like, I don't really care about any of it. But you all have a strength that will help the weakness in your sibling. Figure it out. Wow. One of the funnest questions I've ever asked them is, what would...
I was going to go there.
One of the funnest questions. I'm good for asking questions. They already know. I usually have a whole list on my phone.
I was gonna tell
when we go
you
to eat, I have questions. I don't even want to, don't be on the phones. We're just going to talk. One of the fun questions is, what would you teach your sibling that they don't, that, you know, something from your character that you wish you could give your sibling?
Yeah.
And different spaces, different times, ask each of them. Because they all need to know, I have something that you can use, and you have something that I can use.
Exactly.
What would you give your sister?
Oh.
What would you give your brother? And it's fantastic conversation.
Of course.
My oldest, her name is Taylor. She said, I would give Miles the ability to, what is she? Because Taylor is very open. She's just and Miles is very black and white. She's me. She's the mini version of me. To 100%. And Taylor is very just open, and Miles is loving, but in a different way. And Taylor was like, just be okay. It's going to be fine. No, that's Miles. Miles is like, it'll be all right. It's going to work out. Taylor's like, and very tight. Yeah. And Miles is like, relax. And then Taylor was like, I would tell Miles, like, come on, speak up for yourself. Go a little bit. Miles will speak up for other people, not all the time for herself. So I was like, use those. Use those things to dive into each other.
Yeah, I mean, abilities, and just to be reminded, hey, you know, go ahead and try it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and, you know, like you said, there's little things that and even with my kids, and you mentioning your kids, they all have different characters.
Yes.
I'm like, you know, but the most important thing is connecting, is talking and sharing, is, you know, hey, what can we improve? What can we, you know, talk about? And also what I've talked to my daughters about forgiveness.
Absolutely.
You know, now it's like the whole, you know, you hurt me, you're done.
It's the cancel culture. That's what we call it.
That's
the cancel culture.
Going, the cancel culture. And we're living it even in our families.
We are.
It's like, no.
That's why I said you got to get to like them. You got to get to know them.
Exactly. That's from, exactly.
Yeah, get to know them.
Yeah.
Like understand.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things that I've seen with my girls, and they're like that with their brother too. Like they check in on him and, you know, make sure he's good. But with the girls, my middle one finished her master's. Okay. And my oldest decided she wanted to go get her master's, but she was like, I don't want to have to pay for it. Miles is like, oh, I'll help you with that. So she started helping her find schools, programs, telling her how to navigate. Wow. She ended up getting into a master's program, graduates next week with her master's. But great. In the reverse, my middle one was struggling with a particular class. Okay. My oldest daughter was like, this is the kind of letter you need to write. This is who you need to write it to. Do you need me to write it? I've already befriended them on LinkedIn and Facebook. I know who you need to contact. Like she's
on it.
Yes. But when they saw each other, that struggle area, they dived in and they were like, let me help you do what I know how to do. I love that. Like that was like a shining moment for me.
Team right there.
I was like, that's a shining moment because they showed up in a space that each other needed it in the way that they knew how to do it. And it was received because it's not just about showing up. It's about teaching our kids how to accept help when it comes as well. So
But I just listening to you, I know they learn by example.
Those are my girls, all of them. I call them my little broke besties.
I know they learn by example because, you know, just the importance of a mother is wonderful. Yeah. You know, us trying to not only nourish but be there, and you know, sometimes with work and trying to balance things around. Yeah. My goodness. It's difficult because I do get all the phone calls. My phone is going to ring first. I do get the text messages. My oldest is in Croatia right now, and she's FaceTiming me on WhatsApp. Wow. And I'm like, hello. What has been your like, in this situation, have you found yourself in like a point where you're like, oh goodness, I pray that she's okay, or any worries? Or I did that in high school, and God checked me. He was like, you're not protecting her, I am. Oh.
Just like he was sitting right next to me.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I struggle with that.
Yeah.
And now, now my girls being.
And I understand. And
age.
we should be concerned, but we shouldn't be worried. We're concerned because of other people and situations and circumstances, but worry is that's not our portion. That's God. God, you're taking care of them. My son has been out of the country. He's in Georgia in the military. He's in different spaces that I never would have imagined him being in. I can't protect him.
That's right.
But that's what my prayers are for. And so that is an area of growth. I grew to that because it was difficult. And I'm getting ready to go through that now because the girls are getting into that space where they're getting to move out and really be on their own. It's different to me when they were like in school because that's still kind of like a safe space in a way. But now they're going into the real world and getting ready to have their own spaces. And I'm like, oh God, like apartments, like by themselves, like. But then but then I had backtrack, and I was like, no, I said God's got them. Like He's ordering their steps, and that's my resolve when it comes to them. Is I'm their mom. He gave them to me for this time. My position in their life is different. I'm supposed to parent them when they were younger. Now I'm supposed to pray for them and support them. So I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna talk. Do you want me to say something, or you just want me to listen today? What do you want from me? That's a question. Do you need me to speak, or do you just need me to listen? Am I just a sounding board? Am I your friend right now, or am I your mom?
That's important right there.
It is, because we do change. You do realize that we're always gonna be their mom, but at some point we become friends with our kids. That's the hope.
Yeah.
I can go shopping with my girls. I can go to coffee with my girls. We can chat it up on the phone. We can binge watch TV shows, stuff that I was doing with my girlfriends.
Yeah.
But when they need their mom, I know how to show up. And just tell me what hat I need to put on.
Like, what hat do I need to put on?
What hat am I wearing today, girl? Just tell me. I got you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So no, I don't worry. I'm concerned, but I don't worry anymore. I can say that with assurance.
You mentioned high school. What was there a phase or a situation where you were like, okay, I'm worried, or?
When they were in high school, so my daughter did extracurricular activities, and I told her to call me 10 minutes before you guys are done so I can come and pick you up because I'll be out there waiting in the parking lot. She didn't call me, and so I had fallen asleep, and then I called her, and I was like, where are you? She's like, I'm at the school waiting for you. She had never called me. When I tell you, I had a whole panic attack in the bed, and that is when God was like, but you haven't been protecting her. I have.
Okay.
Like my husband was like, I need you to calm down. I was like, ooh. I felt like I abandoned her. Like I went through all of the things. I'm like, anything could have happened. I don't know these people. Like all of the scenarios went through my mind. And God was like,
she by herself.
Right. And God was like, but I've been keeping her.
Wow.
I've been protecting her. When she went away to college, He said, I'm the one who protects her. I'm the one who keeps her. And I was like, yes, Lord. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, God. Yes, Dad.
Hey, I've been there.
So you gotta lock into that because He's keeping them.
He is. That's right.
He's keeping them.
That's right. That's beautiful. And the same thing has happened where I have forgotten to. I mean, in my industry, I'm trying to, I make my own schedule.
Right.
And it's flexible and things like that. But it's just they just don't know what I need to do to get to where I need to pick them up from extracurricular activities, music class, sports, and all this stuff, and it has slipped my mind.
Yeah.
Or traffic, and I'm worried to death.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, who's there? She's by herself, open space.
Yeah.
You know?
I've called neighbors. Can you go get them from the school? I've done it all.
Have you done that?
I've done it all.
I've done it
all. I mean, those moments happen. And as a mom, we figure it out. We handle it. Yeah. And we try to make it look like it was effortless on our end, like we knew it was coming. Yeah. All they need to know is that they're looked after, they're loved, they're cared for, they're safe. That's it.
Gosh, for me, it was so hard. Like sometimes me being here by myself and not having a family in Tennessee.
Right.
It's been difficult.
Yeah.
But I have had to come out of my shell and really trust my friends.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, I can make it. Can you please pick up my daughter?
Yeah.
Or, hey, I can't do this. Can you please? Yeah, because to me, I was like, no, I got to do it. I got to do it myself. There's a responsibility. This is my job. Nobody else. I don't need to bother nobody else. And I'll always be thinking, okay, people are busy. I cannot, if they need me, I'll be there, But no, don't worry about it. This mama got everything under control. A helicopter mom. No, I learned it the hard way.
I don't have any family here either. We moved from California,
Oh, wow.
so I had to do the same thing you had to do is find community.
Yeah.
And it grew me in my area of trust of people.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to trust people. Somebody spoke to me, one of my mentors. She said, God uses his people to bless his people.
Oh, believe me.
Right?
Yes,
so
ma'am.
if we're
Yes,
doing
ma'am.
all the work, where does God get to show up for us? So
Amen.
I was like, oh, okay.
I have seen it. I have lived it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, God, you're good.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, you're good.
Yeah.
There was a time where I was really struggling because I was in the insurance field when it comes to insuring auto insurance businesses and things like that. And it was a 9-to-5 job. So it was hard for me to go get the girls, pick them up, and bring them back to the office.
Right.
Sometimes it was an easy commute, but sometimes it was just
Right.
like, okay, I got a client in here. I got to pick up my daughter at 2:30, whatever the case might be. And I had to rely on community, on my friends, to be, and God put those angels there, your people, to help out.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest. To me, it was hard to do that. It was hard because in my end, the way my mama taught me, it's like, it's your responsibility. You wanted kids, you take care of it.
Right.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
But like you said, I was here by myself. I didn't have no family. My mom lives 9 hours away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do I do? I need help. And God put those angels for me throughout my, I'm telling you, and I stayed home too for a little bit, but whenever my girls started school and stuff like that, and I started working back up, I'm like, wow, God, you've been good.
He shows up.
You've been great.
Yep.
You've been great. That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your story,
Oh, you're so
your
welcome.
testimony. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm like also taking in advice. I don't know about you, but I am, because I'm going through the teenager years and she's been through it. And just knowing, you just gave me a nice, friendly reminder that I don't need to worry.
Yeah,
God is watching over my children.
Yeah.
He's the one that is in control of everything at all times.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep that today.
That's peace right there.
That's
peace.
honey. Yes.
That's peace.
That's big time peace. That's awesome.